Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm just kind of doing this really short video. I kind of got this idea yesterday when I was playing around in my room. I thought, we have these cling stamps. I guess they're called the cling stamps. I don't know. I get so confused sometimes. But anyway, where you have the red rubber stamps and then you put your picture overlay on them. And I thought, okay, well, what do we do with all that waste? And it's like, but that clings. So I came up with this really cool idea. So um, this is a set that I let my assistant put together because I'm never very, very good at it. But she did do a set for me yesterday, and it was the Magic Meadow set. And so I took those scraps of the where the stamps were actually put on that piece of cling paper, and I kind of cut them apart. So I'm going to show you what I did with it because it's kind of a neat technique that you can use, especially if you don't have dies that match your stamp set. So a lot of our dies and stamps do come together as a bundle, but there are some of the red rubber stamps that don't have dies with them. So all I did was I just took apart and just cut real evenly, not evenly, but kind of straight in between, so that all I was left with was this little outline. And then I just peeled that off. You might have to use your tool to get it lifted up. And I de-stickified this a little bit, okay? So I just kind of put it on my hand and rubbed it around just so that it wasn't as sticky as it might be. And I'm just kind of doing this on scrap paper, just kind of practicing. Excuse me. So this is going to be your Tuesday tip. I'm pre-recording it so that I can go ahead and post it out there. And I'm going to use some balmy blue, boho blue today. And so I've got one of my blending brushes. Oops, you want to kind of mask off the areas with Post-it notes, because you could use this whole little scrap of white paper that I'm using to ink on. I know that we have some, I call them blob stamps, but we used to have a lot more than what we've got now. So if you've gotten rid of those, then this is a good alternative to give you that blob look. Okay, that's what I call it anyway. Okay, so once I get my Post-it notes kind of all the way around so that I'm not getting it on my white paper, I'm just going to load up my brush, tap it off kind of a little bit so that I don't get a real dark area like that. And I come in and I'm just going to lightly do some ink blending because I don't want it real dark. You can have it as dark as you want, but I'm just kind of wanting it to be as a background for possibly some words, okay, or a very small image. So I've got a little bit of blue on there. I'll hold it up, but I don't know if you'll be able to really see it or not, but we'll see. But there's blue in there. You'll be able to tell it better once I get the stamped image on it, that there is something behind it. Then you're going to carefully peel off that mask that we made. And there, now you can see our little blue there. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. Okay, so you don't want to throw these away because you can use them multiple times until they no longer stick down. And I'm just going to take a stamp from that Magic Meadows, and it doesn't matter that it's not going to fit perfectly on there. It's okay. And just so that you can see the contrast with it, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it in real red. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of stamp over my blob. So there you have a blob that you've inked. And if you wanted to, like I said, sometimes our words and some of our stamps don't have die cuts, but this is a good way to give a background. And then you can just follow those lines and cut it out to make your tag or to put it on, your image on a card. So I'm going to make a couple of cards like this using this technique, and then I will have those posted. So anyway, that's just a cool idea that you could do. So like, here's a bigger one. So I don't think my little scraps are big enough for that. I just keep a bunch of little scraps that I cut off, and I keep them in my drawer with the rest of my paper. Let's do another one of these. But they are really kind of cool. And I was sitting here in my room and I was working away, and I looked over in the trash and I thought, gosh, it's a shame that we just throw away those sticky pieces that we could actually make our own masks out of. Remember to kind of de-stickify it so that it's not quite so sticky, because you don't want to rip your paper. So, and you could use, it's one way that you can use up scrap paper too. Okay. All right. So let's do another boho blue, but we're going to do it just a little bit darker this time. And see what get my Post-it notes back here. And some of them might be kind of hard to do all the way around, and that's okay. It's all right if you get a little bit of ink outside of that mask that we've made. After all, it's just a homemade card. But I just thought, and they could have been shown out there before. I don't know. I haven't seen it before. And we're just going to kind of get this piece to kind of be stuck in there, and know that I really shouldn't go out past that. So here's load my brush up with my blue, come in from the side, and I'm making this one really kind of dark. But this could even be used, you could use this and do it on a card front and kind of tear around it, and it would look like a snowbank maybe. So that's what happens when you don't have everything covered. But if you're going to cut this out anyway, let's see what words I've got that I can just real quickly. So here's a set from the autumn leaves, and these are the photopolymer, but it's got little word stamps here. So let's just pick out a skinny long greeting and see if that's going to fit there. And it will pretty much. We'll just use that real quick. And we're going to do this in the boho blue. Like I said, I'm just kind of playing around, just kind of giving you an idea of how to utilize stuff if you don't have die cuts for your words. And yet it still gives it that blob, as I call it, behind it. So we're just cutting this out, and it gives that label for your card an entirely different look. So there you have it. So isn't that kind of cool? I really like that idea. So I'm not going to be throwing away my red rubber pieces anymore. I'm going to keep them. And, you don't want to keep them forever. Okay, ladies, we don't need to hang on to everything. Here's one that I played with this morning, and it's red on red. So that one's kind of neat, and I just left it completely whole so I could cut this down and use the whole thing. So there's 3 different shapes that I made just using the excess from our red rubber stamps. Okay, ladies, hope you enjoyed that tip today. Y'all have a wonderful week. We'll see you later.